Hello everyone, Corn here. Welcome to my channel. I have a project share today. It's going to be a little bit different because this journal I made for me, and as my subbies who have been with me a long time know, I've never done that. And my new subbies will realize, I'm sure you do the same thing. Most of your projects don't stay with you there throughout not only the States, but throughout other countries too. Thank you, YouTube, for that. And I made this for me because of going through, quarantine and the pandemic and everything. We all deal with it differently. There are certain things that are the same and certain things that are different. And for me, I need to stay home. I'm high risk, so I need to stay home. And I've only been out once in a couple of months, so it's starting to, it's starting to get me, and I'm one of those who was crafting more, but to be honest, and then doing some spring cleaning here, there, but not as much as I should. And because with crafting, it was more like therapy, you know what I mean? I'm concentrating on this, not on what's happening around me and in the world, which is very upsetting. And I do pray for everyone. And it is like I said, we're all in this together for the first time. So it's not that we haven't had pandemics before, but I mean, these generations. So I wanted to create a journal that reminded me of a lot of good things and to go backwards in time. There's going to be a lot of Victorian ladies you'll see. This will be a different kind of project share because I will be talking about myself, to be honest, sharing some of the things, why they make me happy. And I had a family member once, because I've always liked Victorian era and the style and everything about it. Not everything, most everything, but not everything. And so I've had things like this around me and in the house for a long time. And I had someone once say, why? Why would you have these ladies all around? And my first reaction was, why not? And then my second reaction was, well, because as you all know, if you're a lady and you're here, we still are fighting for equal pay. We're still dealing with issues that we've dealt with for centuries, okay? And that's why I have that. So on the front, excuse me, here we go again with me clearing my throat. I'm so sorry, y'all. On the front, a lot of you all have already seen this. This is what I'm calling a traveler's junk journal because it's not a traditional traveler's notebook. And under here I have some roses of fabric, and then I put the lace over top of it. The front has a postage stamp that was gifted to me by Trina, and this one also. I was so happy to find Helen, Keller, and Sullivan on here because I used to be an intervener for a deafblind child, and that is what Sullivan was. And if you ever saw the play, The Miracle Worker, or if you ever saw, there was a movie out with Patty Duke played Helen Keller. There is a scene where it's a rough scene for some people to see, because an intervener, if you love and respect the deafblind child that you're with, it's you don't let them get away with it. It has to do with respect. And one evening, my child did not want to take his medicine. And, well, no evenings did he want to do it, but this one evening, he was determined to get me. And I think he had had some interveners in the past who were like, oh, fine, then you don't have to take it. But I knew he had to take it. And I really needed to be involved with him taking it, okay? So he was 10 years old. He was a lot smaller than me, and we literally were rolling around on the floor. I was not hurting him, but unfortunately he ended up hurting me, and I have a bad knee because of it, but that's okay. But I kept telling him, I kept signing to him, you have to take your medicine, you have to. And he was like, no, you know, so, but I was able to give him his medicine. And then I ended up in the doctor's office, surgeon's office, but I opted not to do the surgery. But that time in my life was important to me because I have a deaf family member. And I have been out where I was deaf for a day, and I have seen how some people treat deaf people. And I've seen, especially as being an intervener, how some people treat deaf blind people. And it's not cool, in my opinion. And so the respect seems to go out the window. And I was always like, why? Why? This is your fellow human being whose eyes don't work so great and whose ears don't work so great. That's it. That's it. Everything else is the same. And some of the other interveners didn't understand that either, that respect. It was more of a feel sorry for or whatever. So this was super important to me to put this on the front. And, well, this is going to get heavy, y'all. On the back is, I looked a lot like that when I was a little girl. Had whitish blonde hair. Don't have that, didn't have that. It changed high school years, and yes, I got out Miss Clairol and said, we're going to make it blonde again, you know what I'm saying? So this reminds me of my brother and I, and the little birdies are in a cage, and we're opening the door and letting them out. My brother is one of those people who has a way with animals. Animals can sense his love and respect, and they have a tendency to go to him even when hurt, and you know, they're usually very protective of themselves. They just really love my brother and always have since he's little. So I put, this is seam binding. That is vintage. This I got at a thrift store, and it is this color. I didn't dye it or anything, so super happy to use this because it is vintage. And then we open this up, and yes, it's awfully fat. I think you all saw and did the craft with me. This is the 2 bags that are together. And I was super happy to put this right on the front cover. Behind here is paper that they took a picture of lace. So it looks like it is a picture of lace with the paper. I think most of you all know these. I did my tags, and the tops of them I did with the Paper Studio. Has a punch, which I love, for 3 different size tags. I thought I'd do some embossing this time because I have these wonderful embossing folders, and I keep forgetting I have them. Maida Costa reminds me, you have, you know, when she sends me some, she does a lot of embossing. So I have one of those little purses that Sizzix has put out. And so I just ran this through. And this was white, actually. I don't think that was my cream colored paper. I think that was white. And ran it through my Sizzix little purse, and because you know it's all about, well, I love clocks and watches and all that good stuff, but it's all about going back in time and thinking about good things that have happened. So here I've got just a little journaling card I made myself. The corners are punched out with a Paper Studio punch. Some lace from Hobby Lobby, and there's the back which I can journal on, and the front, and then here on this is a little bulb pin that I rescued from clothing, and then I have this little teddy bear that Maida Acosta gifted me, and that just fits down in here. Then I have been to London, and I learned a few things in London, and that, to me, if ever you learn something, that's a good experience. And then I love to dance. I've loved to dance since I was a little girl. And am I a wonderful dancer? No. Am I a horrible dancer? No. But I just love it. It makes me happy. And this image I got out of, this is a Prima paper. And this is just a matter of, you know, journaling, top and bottom. And then this gorgeous paper behind here, that was, I got at Walmart, y'all, in a paper pack. It was so cool. Wait a minute, scrap pack. So this side just has a pocket here. It has, the paper itself is from this Paper Studio. And it just has lovely Victorian ladies in hats. And then I put this sticker, which is a stamp of this lovely Victorian lady. And then I got a vintage doily from a thrift store, and I cut this out of it to place there. And this is the same as the other one, except I did not ink the inside like I did the other one, but just a matter of journaling there. But I just love this paper. I think this paper is gorgeous. In fact, I was hoarding that paper. And then, okay, I don't know why this is out, but this is from, in fact, I was supposed to put a little something on the back so I could journal on the back, but this I cut out of a book that Dawn from Dawn Age Creates gifted me. It's Victorian, and it's really cool. And I just inked around the edges, and this is supposed to go with the shoes. I have a, yeah, there's the shoe page, so that's where that was supposed to go. So on this page, as you all know, my second favorite color is lavender. So I just did, this is a large circle punch, and then this ribbon I've had for quite some time. It's a purple ribbon that has just a tiny bit of bluish purple on the edges. It's really pretty. Then this is the punch that is from the Paper Studio, and then I went ahead and just traced around it in white cardstock and placed that behind it. This, I don't remember where I got this stencil, but if you all have any questions about, you know, where did you get that or whatever, I will try to find the answer if I can, and if I can't, I'll let you know that too. And so inside this one, this you all saw from Stamperia. That paper is just so gorgeous. And then I inked around it. And what I love about that is you can cut it. See, I don't know if you can see. See, it is not straight edges. you can cut it the way they had it. You know, it's, I think they had like lavender around it, but I just fussy cut it to where it looks like little torn spots and everything. And there's the bag. That Stamperia paper is gorgeous, but I'm going to probably journal up here. And this reminds me of my mama, and my mom came through for me. And, you know, that's something you never, ever forget, isn't it? The music reminds me of Mom and the lilacs. And then I placed in there, because I love, love, love pink roses. And these are tiny little forget-me-nots with it. And then I made another one, but just in smaller. And this is cardstock that it's on. And then over here, I just took a paper clip in pink, and I made this little envelope, and I embossed it with my embossing folder was nothing but roses. But then when I inked it, I just inked it at the top and then came down with ink. I didn't ink it all over, and I kind of like that effect, although I did ink this part of it all the way. And these are just two journaling cards. I can journal on the back of this image. And then as far as traveling, I love old trunks. I always have. And then this, for time is going by, and telling myself what you make of this time is up to you, you know. That's my little message to myself. And then on this side, as a lot of you know, if you glue here and here, you can make another pocket here, but I didn't want that. And with this old typewriter keys, and then inside I just put a sticker. I had to fussy cut around the sticker. They had so much white around it, but a sticker of an old typewriter, because oh my, this is in the 70s, late 70s. I was typing on one like this, and I mean, you really have to hit those keys. You had to hit them real hard, and it was a happy time in my life, so it makes me smile when I think of that. And then on this side, this paper I loved. I wanted to really, really focus on this, because yes, I was a teenager when I started sewing on that, believe it or not. And then this is one of those that was already made, one of those envelopes. I ended up decorating the front like this with a sticker and a punch, and then a piece of paper that I took my pinking shears and cut. Then for a journaling card, look at the precious bees, because you all know I love my bees, and when I see bees, bumblebees or honeybees, or other bees, I am extremely happy. I'm very sad about the hornets that have made their way to the United States, and I hope and pray we get that situation taken care of. I love my bees, and I think y'all know that. And then this is another journaling card, and this little girl has a crown of roses, and that makes me think when we were in Germany, and we were civilians, but with the army, and we lived in a village. Our neighbors were two beautiful, had two beautiful little girls, and when all the dandelions came up in the field beside us, they went out, and their grandma and their mom made crowns of dandelions. And I was like, when we walked out and saw that, we kind of grinned like, oh, isn't that sweet? They have weeds on there, a crown of weeds. And when I told my neighbor, I said, you know what's odd? But they were beautiful, seriously. They looked so beautiful, that gorgeous yellow, and almost looked, it was just so soft looking. And when I told my neighbor, I said, you know, back home, they're considered weeds, and we actually are encouraged to get rid of them. And she said, why? And I said, because, well, you know, then your whole yard is nothing but them. She said, oh, how pretty. She made me think of dandelions differently. And when you let dandelions grow in your yard, and your neighbors will get mad at you. Well, I can tell you that, but we do. Then over here, there's a tuck spot, and I had something in it. And I think I put it someplace else. And this is a little tag that I did. Remember in my craft with me how Gretchen from Cat and Paws showed us how to do these fold a piece of paper, a square piece of paper where you can make 3 pockets, and that's what I have here. And here's my little watch, and then here I did this stencil. I think I got this stencil a Tuesday morning last year, the year before. And then over here, because excuse me, I love, love, love this paper so much. I don't want to cover it up very much. And most of you all know I adore trains, and I wanted to make sure, and I adore cows, and I wanted you all to see that the cow made it across the tracks safe and sound. And I have ridden lots of trains. I have traveled on lots of trains. And when we were in Germany, at one point, I was traveling with my 7-year-old Toby on a train 5 days a week. And that's morning and afternoon to school. And I had some beautiful experiences doing that. So that will make me smile. This die, you all, I had forgot I had it. Look at those beautiful gloves. I just love them. It's a Crafter's Companion die that I got last year at Tuesday morning. This envelope, I made another small envelope, and that is embossed also. And then I think a lot of y'all saw this tag. I can journal on the back, but it has to do with my beautiful timepieces and a key. I love keys too. Whoops, and I took that right off. And then when it comes to shoes, back in the day when I was working outside of home, I had a thing about shoes, y'all. I just loved shoes. You know, if you have that extra money, or if somebody says, you know, what do you want for your birthday, or what do you want, I'd find some shoes that were on sale, and then I had a coupon on top of that, and say, these shoes. But this whole page is about those shoes, and I will tell you this. These boots I wanted, I still have the catalog. There was a catalog, and I don't know if they still do it or not, about 30 years ago that I found that if you trace your foot, they will make you these boots. And I wanted them so desperately, but they were $200 back that long ago, so I never got them, but I still have that catalog. And I just made this journaling card, and I coffee dyed the lace that's behind there, and just put old time, and then the Victorian ladies, and then I can journal on the back. And this is where this was supposed to go because of the shoe. And then on this side, I made a belly band, and this is that gorgeous lilac paper from Stamperia, and this is the cover of the paper pad. I used the back of it. And then this beautiful piece underneath the flower is from Martha Stewart. And this lace, I'm not sure, I had some, and I was also gifted some by Christy, who is Christy R. Crafts here on YouTube, and I'm not sure if this is the one she gave me or the one I had gotten. I'm going to say it's the one she gave me. And then this comes from Stamperia also, because a lot of you all know I had a birthday in March, and so I wanted to, it was a completely different birthday from what I'm used to, and that's okay because of what's happening. That's okay. So, but I have that in here, and then this is one of the tags that I can journal on the back, and it says friendship. And again, that reminds me of Mom. And like I said, if your mom is your mom, but if your mom can also be a good friend, wow, that's a blessing. This is the paper that I showed you all that I tea dyed. I like it that you can see the doily here, and so I want that left alone. And then I just grabbed one of my dies, placed this here. This paper is cream colored. And then here again, my trains and the little, I need to give credit where credit is due. This little paper clip with the lace on it, but that you tie on the paper clip, I got that idea from Dawn H Creates. And then inside of here, this pocket, I just placed, this was in a trim, and I like to cut these flowers out of the trim, and just placed a dress form and the old sewing machine. And I have another sewing story that I guess I should say here, and some more Victorian ladies, some needles. And there's, I love this, the dress form. And look, there's the wooden spool. And yes, I do have from a thrift store some old wooden spools. I love them. And the reason that sewing is important to me, you know, when you're growing up, and if y'all don't have tons of money, and you see something that you like, and you're like, oh, this is absolutely gorgeous. And your mom says, oh, honey, that's very expensive. But and then you say, oh, it's just so cute, though. And let me tell you what it was. It was a skirt, an A-line skirt. This is the 70s again, early 70s here. And it had, on the bottom of it, on the bottom border, it had horses, the front of horses. Just one horse after another, the front of them. And they had little bows in their mane, okay? And then you if you turn around, then you have the back of the horses, and they had a bow over their tail, okay? And I just said, I just love this skirt so much. And Mom was like, well, we can't swing it, but let's see what we can do. So she said, I'll make the skirt if you draw the horses. And that's exactly what we did. And that was one of my favorite skirts I've ever owned. So I guess it's me saying that if you get out the sewing machine, if you want something a lot, and you get out the sewing machine, it can be done. And I need to tell you another quick story. Is my grandma, my paternal grandmother, she had on this gorgeous white lace blouse that was one of the prettiest things I ever saw. And I said, Grandma, I know it's rude to ask. I was taught you don't ask where somebody gets something. It's not polite if it's clothing, or you know. And I said, I know I shouldn't ask you this, but that's the prettiest blouse I've ever seen in my life. I wanted one, to be honest. And I said, could you please tell me where you got it? And Grandma looked at me. She had the sweetest smile on her face, and she said, I made it. And I said, oh, Grandma, this is exciting. Could you please give me the pattern that you used? And she had that the smile never left her pretty face, and she said, I didn't have a pattern. And I was like, excuse me? What? Are you teasing? What do you mean you didn't have a pattern? She didn't have a pattern, y'all. She saw it in a window, in a dress shop window, thought it was beautiful, came home and made it. How cool is that? Now, I have never, ever been able to do something like that, but I admired the socks off that woman for being able to do that. I was like, all right, how cool are you, Grandma? This is the Stamperia, one of the cut-aparts too, and it says, take time to smell the roses. Again, a reminder to me to, yeah, there's a lot of rough stuff happening, but look at the good stuff. So, and that's one thing I'm doing. Good News, have you seen that on YouTube? John Krasinski is doing it. I cannot watch that with a dry eye. I just cry every single time. I think he's up to week 6 now, or 7 is this week, I think. But I highly recommend that if you like good news, especially what's happening today. I needed to include a cameo. There's one of mine. I love cameos. That's my thing. You don't see it on me, but that's my engagement ring too. It's a cameo. I love them so much. This is that doily again, another section of the doily, vintage doily that I cut and placed there. I could show you inside here. This is another one of those pieces that, let me see, that goes like so, and then goes like so. All right, you see, I don't know if you can see, it looks like I inked around it. I didn't. This piece of paper is mine from about 45 to 50 years ago, about 45 years ago. I'm one of those, if ever, it's a drawing pad, and if you get any art supplies, you hold on to them forever because they're expensive and because you need them. And this is mostly for charcoal, but I saved that, so I wanted to include that. And then I have this, I think I told you all before, I said I'm not much of a bicyclist, but if I can sit in the back and somebody's going to cycle for me, I was like, okay, I'll do that. There's some more forget-me-not. And this says, keep thy heart with diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. And that's from the book that Dawn gifted to me, and a cross made of forget-me-nots. And then this image reminds me of my mama. And then I have some lace that I took some pink ink and put over it. And then this is a punch with the roses. And then this is a fun story coming up. I love telling this story because people usually don't believe me. This is called Pike's Toothache Drops, and it says, save your teeth. And then you see this look on her face. Well, I have been a dental receptionist before, and it was just 2 of us in the office, and the dentist that I worked for was an extremely nice man. He really was. And I love this story because it just warms my heart just to think of it. We were, it was time to send out the bills. And I was going through each one, and I had to go, this is back where it was all paper, you know, when I was going through each one and addressing envelopes, getting everything ready to send the bills out. And he came up and said, and grabbed, he just was going through them and said, don't send this one, don't send this one, don't, I mean, just over and over. And I was like, we're talking, and then, you know, back in the day, we're talking $500 each about, or some over. And I was like, what, why? I think we need to send those. And he goes, when the crops come in, they'll come in with their payment. So he literally sat them on my desk away from me, and I think he put them in like a little file, like, just wait. And so help me, Hannah, you all, it happened. And we're talking not only older farmers or middle-aged, we're talking young farmers too. They would come in as soon as their crops came in, come straight over to me and hand me it in cash. It just blew my mind. It was so sweet. You know? That's one of my favorite memories, is that kind of kindness and goodness and respect, you know, is wonderful. I didn't think I'd cry. Sorry, you guys. Sorry. Sometimes really sweet things make me cry. I used to think that was silly. When I was younger, I was like, why is so-and-so crying? They said, because they're touched, they're so happy. And I'm like, what? Why are they crying? Because they're happy. Well, I know what that feels like. So over here, this is the other side of that paper that is a map, and I love maps, by the way. And so all I did was fold it here, didn't cut it, you know, the regular size, and then inked around the edges with the vintage photo. And then you all saw this envelope, and we did this together and decorated it together with a little lace and punch and ribbon. And then this is one of the doilies that I tea-dyed, and you can see I made a mistake. I didn't put the doily right where it was supposed to be. I didn't even notice it until later. And this image of the swimmers, I love the ocean and I love to swim, and so I put that in because swimming just makes me happy. And so I put that in, and then I can lift the doily, and you all know when I have lines, I write, and I'm happy with my writing. If I don't, I'm like, whoops, woo. Grab one of my dies and place that here. This is about the automobile and how I've gotten quite a bit of traveling done in cars and sometimes moving trucks, and just reminds me of it's time to pack up and go again. And also, I like my car. It gets me places. And I was able to, not this old of a car, but I was able to have some beautiful memories in a little red car, a sports car back in the day. And then this is supposed to be like a little ticket. And just inked around it. This is from Seven Gypsies with the hot air balloon, the train, the trunk, and all that good stuff. I just thought that really looked cute there. And then I found this behind here. Let me do this first. This is a ticket. And boy, like I said, when I'm on the train, I've had a lot of tickets, you know, that I had to have on my person so they could check them and punch them and all that good stuff. And then because of that gorgeous green, I did the green paper, which it was already embossed. I didn't emboss that one. Then pink behind that, and then cut out this image from the book that Dawn gave me, and it says Mother's Love, and it says bookmark at the top, so I was like, okay, I'll do a bookmark. But I do have one sister and one brother, so it reminded me, and yes, I'm the baby. It reminded me of us. And then here I did the postcard pocket, and then for the journaling cards, just a bunch of the vintage postcards. I forget what paper pad I got that from. And then I have the Victorian lady behind there. And I do have one of the rulers that will let you tear it where it's a pretty tear. And then this fabric that looks like it's tea-dyed with the little rosebuds that I got at a thrift store. And then I did put some stickles on some of the roses throughout, and stickles in the center of some of the flowers because the centers that were in them were too bulky for this. I've already showed this before. This is another one of the envelopes that I made, and this little, or this larger butterfly goes like so. And I just put a die cut here that I did some time ago, but it matched so well. I wanted, you know us, we paper crafters and people who sew and everything, love our scissors. So I wanted to make sure those were seen. This is another piece of white cardstock that I embossed with the roses. And then these dies I got from Amazon, actually. And then this pulls out, and we have By the Light of the Moon, she gathered bachelor buttons. And bachelor buttons are another name for cornflowers. So I thought, oh, okay, that's perfect. And this is the only one that I have missed putting my stickles on this flower, but I will do that later. I just wanted to show y'all this. And then, I will also put in the description box below, there's a crafter here on YouTube that showed us how to do these, and this is 3 little pockets, little envelope pockets, and made out of the tea stained paper, and then white doilies, small doilies, lace here, and then again that a punch with the roses, and then this is from the book again, Dealing with Love. And so, and this is like a little ticket with forever and always on it. And I did mine different, similar but different from her, but you would love that video, so I will link that down below. And then we're back with our lavender, and this time I did a butterfly punch, and then I got out my markers and my stickles and did that to just a plain lavender, and I had some fun with that though, to be honest. And then stickles on the white rose. This die I got, I think that's from Amazon, I don't remember. And then that's Stamperia also. Just did a this die I got from BB Crafts. This envelope I got from, boy, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, all kidding aside, at least 2 years ago from, I've drawn a blank. Oh, mercy. I hate it when this happens. Tuesday morning. And then this image of the camera, I'm pretty sure that's 7 Gypsies too. I've got some lace behind it. I've got stickles on this. I took my smallest oval die and made that, punched that out. Then inked around here, and I haven't put anything in it yet, but I love the way it closes. Then this is Stamperia also. The reason I want it back here, it says goodbye. And then inside of it, there's, I like doing a top pocket. And this is from Tim Holtz, this piece. And I just put that on the back to journal on because I like the numbers too. And then, which you can place it just like so. And then Martha Stewart die cut. And then I just put the clock on there with the map in the background. And just a journal on the back of that. And then this is the last of it, y'all. And I made a belly band over a pocket. And this reminds me of just, oh, and this is one of those pieces. Whoa! Well, I can't go get that. But anyway, it was one of those pieces that you open up and it has the lines in it. And the little girl just reminds me of, I was a card growing up. I loved to make people laugh. And then this, you all remember this, oh, all throughout this, some of the Victorian ladies, the stickers that I got from Amazon, I had to put them on white cardstock because they were so see-through, and then fussy cut around them. And then I put the stickles on the roses that she is holding. And this I embossed also, and it's just, I can open it up and write in that. And then this darling little scallop here is a Fisker's punch on that, and then this is a Prima piece of paper on there. So that is my journal, y'all, and for trying to help me get through all that we're getting through and thinking about good times and sweet times, and hopefully and prayerfully good and sweet times to come. And thank you all so much. I know that most of y'all do not like a long video because you can't stay that long, and I understand. But thank you so much for stopping by, and I hope you have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening. Bye-bye, everybody.